Guys, I am really not looking forward to playing Arsenal in the opening Premier League fixture next week.
I think Arsenal will do this season. How many goals do you think Viktor Gyökeres will score this season? And do you think the competition with Kai Havertz is healthy? But let's start by saying a couple of things. There's a lot of people that started slagging off Gyökeres. Oh, he's not involved in the game. Oh, he doesn't get a lot of touches. You are picking on something that Arsenal have been having for a while, which is people complained about the striker dropping deep and getting involved. And let's analyze the game completely. Arsenal needing a number 9, that when the chance comes in, he scores the goals. That is what happened with Viktor Gyökeres. He might not get involved in the beginning of the game. He might not complete 50,000 passes, but he's there. He's the presence in the 18, and that's what Gyökeres have provided for Arsenal in this game. It's a friendly game, but it's probably the last game for Arsenal before they head to play Manchester United at Old Trafford. They need to start the season well, and this will give them confidence. There are many aspects of this game that we need to start. I'm not going to start only with Viktor Gyökeres. I just wanted to mention something. That the most of the chances that fell to Viktor Gyökeres, he had a shot on target, he created something, even the build-up play, because once he got his goal, you saw the long balls and the link-up play that he did with a couple of passes, running the channels, actually being physical with the defenders of the Athletic, of course, and that is what you need for the forward, someone who scores goals, but also in the same time gets involved in the game, and he did. After he scored the goal, he got confident, and that is what Viktor Gyökeres offers, which is different than what Kai Havertz offers. So Arsenal now have completely two different forwards. One gets involved in the game more often, like Kai Havertz. You like him, you hate him. He is someone that is going to be involved with Arsenal. And the number 9 that everyone was asking for, Viktor Gyökeres. What a brilliant goal with the header. What people don't understand is it's very hard to anticipate where the ball is coming. And him coming across the defender and hitting the ball in the far post, that is a striker's goal. Everyone that said he's not good with his header, a goal with his header, he hit the post with the second header, and that is what people said he can do, and he just did it. So I believe he's going to score buckets in the league. Will that help Arsenal win the league or not? That is a different story because it depends on a lot of other factors.
Every single person, Arsenal, don't judge them on what you've seen. Judge them on what you're going to see. Viktor Gyökeres, Martinelli, Bukayo Saka. Every single person today put in a shift. And are we the first person to come out and say Arsenal deserved criticism in their pre-season games so far? They weren't good enough against my team, Tottenham. We made it very, very difficult for them to play. But you know what? Against Villarreal, we saw a counter-attacking masterclass. We saw Pepe perform. But you know what? Arteta went back to basics today, playing to his striker's strengths. Gyökeres on the score sheet. World-class talent, Bukayo Saka on the score sheet. And Kai Havertz, I don't understand the disrespect he gets. I don't understand the hate he gets. He's a player who, he's not necessarily a 9, and he's not necessarily a 10. But what Kai Havertz he does get goal contributions. There's no doubt about it. Arsenal 3, Athletic Bilbao 0. The same Bilbao, by the way, that scored against Liverpool not once, but twice. And do you know what? I was sitting at the pub. I was watching the game. I was digesting what I was seeing. A back 4 of Calafiori, Timber, Saliba and Gabriel. No Miles Lewis-Skelly. Zubimendi and Rice. Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli and Gyökeres. And maybe Arteta's experimenting. Maybe he's going back to basics. We're going to break it.
Bow, and I expected nothing less with a team that has been getting battered all pre-season. But that man Gyökeres decided he wanted to score something that he's been critiqued about, which was a header, and a very good one at that. Good cross from Zubimendi, I must admit. Arsenal looked night and day better than them. Physically, they moved the ball a lot faster. You know, they pretty much played what you'd call maybe their starting 11 if you wanted to put Skelly in there. and players getting minutes like Timber and Gabriel, much needed. That was better. You know, Arsenal played with intent there. Saka destroying the fullback. It was a field day. It should have been more. It should have been double. Should have been. Could have been 7 really. Let's be honest with ourselves. You know, there's a lot of shots on target there, about 6 on target. Some going over as well. You know, some deflections. Not really much going David Raya's way. You know, maybe in the first half. But yeah, Arsenal definitely major improvements on what I believe was a major improvement. And not that I'm kind of scared about the game at Old Trafford, but it's like, it's kind of convenient that the guy that scored is the one coming up against his old manager. And then, you know, well, Kai Havertz also scored, so Arteta's got a bit of a headache there as well. Much needed minutes for Kai Havertz. What to really say? I'm actually just thinking about next week Sunday, so that's all that's going around in my head. But yeah, look, Arsenal moved the ball with intent. You know, Declan Rice as well, major ball carrying that I've not really seen in pre-season so far, which was needed, is like getting a hold of the ball, getting a grip of it. And Zubimendi was phenomenal.
Okay. Listen, Viktor Gyökeres has avoided the 007 slander. It's very, very important. They say that you got to score or get an assist in your first 7 games. And listen, people will tell you that preseason doesn't matter because, listen, Mbeumo hasn't scored, Cunha hasn't scored. So really and truly, we need to find out whether preseason matters. Because 1 minute, if you're losing games, it doesn't matter. And when you're winning games, so it matters. So which one is it, Arsenal fans? Does it matter or does it not matter? I'll leave you to decide. But listen, he's got off on a score sheet. I thought I'd watch him. I thought I'd see what Arsenal are about. You know, we play you lot next week. I thought, you know what? Let me just do a bit of scouting. Let me just see what Arsenal are up to, how they play. And not that I don't know. You know, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's quite, you know, very, very, you know what I mean, safe passes here and there and whatnot. To be fair, Arsenal, even though we can't really gas up the game, I think there were interesting things I found out today. One of them, that Zubimendi. Hey, listen, he might be a useful player for Arsenal, man. The passes, the vision that Zubimendi's got, which I will discuss in detail, he played very, very well. And Gyökeres, man, they told me he couldn't header. They told me headering is his worst ability, bro. So I was thinking to myself, you know what? Why are Arsenal trying to cross the ball in? Why are they trying to get the ball to him in the air? I was like, bro, the guy can't really header. Like, man saw comps. Man was watching games and I was like, yo, his headering ability isn't his strongest point, is it? Really and truly.
Moment. I did tell you guys not to panic. I did say to Arsenal fans, don't lose your heads. Don't start going crazy. Don't part your cheeks for rivals so soon. You look really dangerous today. You look dangerous. You could see relationships forming with Gyökeres, Saka, Odegaard, and on the left-hand side as well. His movement was better. He was looking fitter. And look, there are things in the game. You could probably, if you're an anorak, if you're a geek, if you don't have a social life, you could put together a compilation of some bad touches and a couple of bad shots, and when a pass or two didn't come off and when a dribble didn't work. But you'll be able to do that in every single game he has. He could score 5 goals in a game and there would still probably be outtakes from a match that you could couple together, put some ominous or clown music on and make him look bad. But Viktor Gyökeres today was demonstrating exactly why he's one of the best strikers in the world. And I want to start with him when breaking this game down, because it was just, I don't know how many weeks ago on the Top 6 show on the Football Terrace I said this, but he's going to score with his head. I still think the first goal he's going to score in the Premier League is with his head, because people have made such a song and dance about him not scoring with his head. And what a fantastic goal it was. The cross from Zubimendi is excellent. Put it into the danger zone, pinpoint precision, great velocity, nice speed, and Gyökeres, bang, absolute powered it into that bottom corner. He gets, I think, that monkey off of his back. He gets that pressure removed slightly, because it is a game that's being televised. Rivals are watching, big crowd ahead of him. That will help Gyökeres moving forward. But it wasn't just his goal today. He nearly scored another with a diving header as well. It would have been ironic, his first 2 goals in an Arsenal shirt coming from his head. but it just felt like there was a better link-up play. He was making runs. People were trying to find him. It was a far better performance from Gyökeres and his teammates. And because of those two guys, and what was I noticed in the first half, when it was 0-0, the space was quite limited. As soon as Arsenal scored, an Athletic Club played out a bit more from the back and they were trying to get a goal back and there was more space, he come into his own. And that is something that Arsenal were punished with last season. They would take leads in many, many games. There'd be opportunities in space. There'd be opportunities to kill games off. And Arsenal weren't able to do it. And tonight, Gyökeres was dominant in those spaces and in those areas. And as his relationship with his teammates improves, as they gel and they get better, you'll see much, much more from him.
Guys, I am really not looking forward to playing Arsenal in the opening Premier League fixture next week because they look sharp, they look good. This is probably the best performance I've seen from Arsenal in pre-season, and this was probably the first proper time, I didn't watch the last pre-season game. This is the first proper time we've seen their sort of best starting 11, the starting 11 that I assume they'd probably play versus Manchester United. He might swap Martinelli with Madueke because Madueke looked a little bit brighter on the left today. And yeah, it's only pre-season. Pre-season doesn't mean all of this and that. Of course, when Manchester United play Arsenal, there's going to be more intensity. There's more of a rivalry there. We're going to break down what we learned from Arsenal. 3 Athletic Club Bilbao nil. Well, I'm a little bit worried now as a Manchester United fan because I'm going to break down Zubimendi, Gyökeres, Madueke, Saka, Havertz, defence, general notes on the game. I'm going to break that all down. But like this time last week, Manchester United had beat Bournemouth 4-1. We played amazing in that game. And we signed Sesko, but I don't think he's going to be ready for the game. Maybe he comes off the bench. But our 2 pre-season games since Everton have been a bit slow. And today versus Fiorentina wasn't great. We need a midfielder. And I think coming up against Zubimendi and Rice in midfield, Man United's biggest problem is when they come up against a good midfield. And Zubimendi was the man of the match today. Zubimendi was incredible. And that's why I'm concerned, because while pre-season isn't the be-all and end-all, it doesn't mean everything. Saka's looking better. He's looking sharper. Gyökeres is looking like he'll be a monster. Zubimendi, for me, is world-class. He'll prove that this season. There's a reason why Liverpool wanted him last year. Yes, he wasn't in the best Sociedad side last year, but he was still an elite player. You know, there's some players that are just really good. They just don't play for great clubs. Like Bruno Fernandes is probably the reason we didn't get relegated last year. And if he was doing what he did at Manchester United at another club, he'd be doing it even better because he'd have better players around him. And Zubimendi is one of those. We know he's an elite player. I knew he was a good signing, but Zubimendi is going really under the radar, I think, because of the Gyökeres signing. I think because of the Eze links. But Zubimendi could easily be the best signing of the summer.